Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 5 articles for you in this episode, and all the URLs are in the description of the video for your convenience. I have is off of Breitbart, and it says, Shattered Revelation Hatched Russian Hacking Narrative 24 Hours After Hillary's Loss. Get this here a little bit. Hamster's running as fast as he can go. The new Clinton campaign tell-all shattered. Should have known he was going to get a little too froggy here. Hang on. Come on, hamster. The Clinton campaign tell-all shattered inside Hillary Clinton's doomed campaign reveals how Hillary Clinton personally placed blame, bruising defeat on Russian meddling within 24 hours of her concession speech. Behind-the-scenes book by Jonathan Allen and Amy Perns illustrates how Hillary Clinton furiously blamed her defeat on FBI investigations into her private emails and Trump's supposed support from white nationalists. From Shattered says, on a phone call with a longtime friend a couple of days after the election, Hillary was much less accepting of her defeat. She put a fine point on the factors she believed cost her the presidency. The FBI, Comey, the KGB, the old name for Russian intelligence service, and the KKK got from white nationalists. I'm angry, Hillary told her friend, and exhausted. After 2 brutal campaigns against Sanders and Trump, Hillary now had to explain the failures to a friend in a seemingly endless round of phone calls that was taking a toll on her already weary and grief-stricken soul. But mostly, she was mad, and that the country would have to endure a Trump presidency. The authors detailed how Clinton went out of her way to pass blame for her stunning loss on Comey and Russia. She wants to make sure all these narratives get spun the right way, a longtime Clinton confidant is quoted as saying. Highlights how Clinton's Russia blame game was a plan hatched by senior campaign staffers John Podesta and Robbie Mook less than 24 hours after she conceded. That strategy had been set within 24 hours of her concession speech. Mook and Podesta assembled her communications team at Brooklyn headquarters to engineer the case that the election wasn't entirely on the up and up. For a couple of hours, with Shake Shack containers littering the room, they went over the script they would pitch to the press and the public. Already, Russian hacking was the centerpiece of the argument. The Clinton camp settled on a 2-pronged plan, pushing the press to cover how Russian hacking was the major unreported story of the campaign, overshadowed by the contents of stolen emails and Hillary's own private server imbroglio, while hammering the media for focusing so intently on the investigation into her email, which had created a cloud over her candidacy, the authors wrote. The press botched the email story for 18 months. One person who was part of the strategy is quoted as saying, Comey obviously screwed us, but the press created the story. The books also detail Clinton's confusion and frustration with President Obama, whom she apparently thought didn't do enough to apprise the public that the Russians had gone way beyond what had been reported. She wondered why the president hadn't leaned harder into making the case that Vladimir Putin was specifically targeting her and trying to throw the election to Trump. The Russia staff has really bothered her a lot, one of the aides said. She's sort of learning that what the administration knew and when they knew it, and she's just sort of quizzical about the whole thing. She can't quite sort out how this all played out the way that it did. On the long list of people, agencies, and international forces Hillary blamed for her loss. Obama had a spot. Elsewhere, however, Allen and Parnes provided polling numbers and other raw data that pinpoint the precise reason why Clinton lost. Hint, it's not Russia. Men and working class Democrats in Pennsylvania turning to Trump and how he simply outperformed her with white voters in battleground Florida. Pennsylvania showed that Clinton and Obama won women by 13-point margins in 2016 and 2012, respectively. But in a state that has never elected a woman governor or U.S. senator, men favored Trump by 17 points, a massive increase over Mitt Romney, 3-point edge in 2012. From a geographical perspective, Hillary did better than Obama in Philadelphia and its surrounding suburban counties, but lost working-class Democratic stronghold in Erie and Luzerne counties that Obama had carried. In Florida, Trump crushed Hillary in the suburban swing areas outside Tampa and St. Petersburg, as he did nationally. Trump did better with white Floridians and Romney had, doubling up Clinton at 64% to 32%. Romney had beaten Obama 61% to 37% among Florida whites. Clinton also lost the reliability Democratic state of Wisconsin, where she had been blown out by Bernie Sanders in the Wisconsin primary and failed to campaign for months after her party's national convention. Turnout in Milwaukee, the key vote center for Democrats in Wisconsin, was off by 60,000 or so votes from 2012, and nearly 36 counties in the state saw partisan margin from that year flip by 20 percentage points or more in 2016. Trump won 52% to 41% in Brown County, home of Green Bay, site of the visit that Hillary and Obama canceled after the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando. Obama had won the county by 9 points in 2008 and lost it by 2 points in 2012. Hillary, who had been blown out by Bernie Sanders in Wisconsin primary, never set foot in the state. Lastly, Shattered examined how Trump turned Michigan, a state that had been blue since 1992, into a red state. About a dozen counties in Michigan flipped from Obama to Trump, but one mattered most, McCobb County, flush with working and middle-class whites, gave Trump more than his statewide margin of victory. Obama won the county by 16,103 votes in 2012. Trump took it by 48,348 votes, or about 4 times his statewide margin. Sure to become a best-selling blockbuster, Shattered became available everywhere books are sold on April the 18th. The next article is off of Conservative Tribune. Evidence, or try this again. Shock evidence. Dems tried to literally steal another election. The theft of electronic voter logs from poll workers' pickup truck in Georgia has raised questions about the possibility of voter fraud in Tuesday's special election in Georgia, Fox News reported. According to Fox, early voting check-in machines were stolen from the pickup truck of poll manager Craig Joe Rogers, a 60-year-old Marietta resident, while he was shopping at a Kroger supermarket on Sunday. The machines, which are electronic and cost $2,000, were among thousands of dollars of election equipment taken from Cobb County vehicle. The thefts came in the midst of a contentious jungle primary to replace Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price, who left the House seat representing Georgia's 6th congressional district to take a seat in President Donald Trump's cabinet. Pricer had cruised to re-election with more than 60% of the vote. This week was going to be much more hard fought. A slew of candidates battled it out to see if one could get 50% of the vote. The Democrats have put all their eggs in the basket. Come on here and work with me. There we go. The Democrats have put all their eggs in the basket of Jon Ossoff, including celebrity endorsements, and according to Real Clear Politics, 8.3 million cash. That Democrat effort ended up coming up short. Ossoff fell about 2 points shy of the 50% needed, and even generally 538 predicted that he had no better than a 50-50 chance of winning the June runoff. However, that doesn't mean there aren't rumors of voter fraud surrounding the theft, especially because of our friend Craig Joe admitted that he may have left his truck unlocked and Cobb County officials didn't bother notifying the Georgia Secretary of State's office that the machines were missing for 2 days. It's ridiculous that they wait to notify our office, said Candace Bross, press secretary for Georgia Secretary of State Brian Kemp, according to WSB-TV. We should have been one of the first calls that they made after the theft occurred. We are always accessible to county elections officials. We have open investigation and we are taking steps to ensure that it has no effort or no effect on the election, Kemp said. I'm confident that the results will not be compromised. It's worth pointing out, however, that there was another auto break-in down the street. However, the timing of the theft made Jason Shepard, chairman of the Cobb County GOP, suspicious of voter fraud. This election has gotten very contentious, Shepard told Fox. The Democrats have sent in busloads of activists from Washington, Connecticut, and Michigan. The theft could just be a random thing, but the timing makes it much more worrisome, he added. I think there is cause to be concerned about the integrity of the elections. Did they look in the back of that truck and saw what they knew to be voting machines and thought they could get something to affect the elections? That's a concern. Lawrence Norden of the New York University Brennan Center Democracy Program said the voter information could be used to help candidates ground game. They have the whole country on there, Norden said. If you want to target people based on their party affiliation, there's potential that it could be used for getting out the vote. Of course, now that Ossoff didn't manage to win the first round, expect the local Democratic Party chairman to announce the suspects are short cartoon man in a hat and a tall cartoon woman in a dress who sped away with the machines while shouting, "Viva get moose and squirrel for Muda Russia." Boris and Natasha. Let's see here. This next one's off of Breitbart, and it says, Joe Manchin says, Trump has the fortitude to make Senate pass gun control. Wow. I don't know what he's taken, but it must be strong stuff. Let's see. Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, claims President Trump has fortitude to make the U.S. Senate pass gun control. Manchin pushed gun control in the wake of the heinous attack on Sandy Hook Elementary School, only to see it rejected by Republicans along with some Democrats in April of 2013. He has tried to revive the gun control push more than once in years since and believes it can be secured with Trump in office. According to CNN, Manchin was asked about gun control and said Donald Trump's the only person that can do it right now. He suggested Trump could add gun sense to the failed Senate bill, thereby convincing some gun control opponents to support it. Manchin's Manchin went full-blown gun control and explained the rejection of his gun control bill by saying there's a reason that certain people shouldn't be able to have access to guns. Every law-abiding gun owner understands that. They read our bill. They saw we had a good piece of legislation, but no one had the fortitude to do it, and Trump could do it. He did not mention that the Sandy Hook gunman stole the guns he used in the attack. Therefore, his actions would not have been curtailed in the slightest by Manchin's proposed gun laws. Ironically, Manchin admits in the days leading up to the Senate's rejection of his gun control bill, during the April 14th, 2013 airing of CBS News Face the Nation, Manchin noted that his bill would have done nothing to prevent Sandy Hook attack. It had been implemented before the attack occurred, or had it been implemented before the attack occurred. And empirical evidence supports Manchin's admission. As a matter of fact, evidence abounds showing universal background checks, the core of Manchin's gun control pose no hindrance to mass public attackers. For example, Colorado had universal background checks, yet the state witnessed a firearm-based attack on Halloween of 2015 in Colorado Springs and another on a Planned Parenthood on November the 7th of 2015. California has universal background checks, yet witnessed 3 killed in a May 23, 2014 firearm-based attack in Santa Barbara, 14 killed in a December 2nd, 2015 attack based in San Bernardino, a murder-suicide on UCLA's gun-free campus on June 1st of 2016, 2 Palm Spring officers killed in an ambush attack on October the 8th of 2016, and 3 people killed in a murder-suicide at a San Bernardino elementary school last week. Washington State has universal background checks, yet 5 innocents were killed in mass shooting at a Burlington mall on September the 23rd of 2016. And if we look at Europe, France has universal background checks, yet at least 142 innocents were shot and killed by armed attackers during 2015 alone. Perhaps West Virginians need to have the fortitude to show up at the polls on November in 2018 and replace gun control Senator Manchin with someone who will protect the Second Amendment. Just a thought. The next one we have here is off of Western Journalism. It says, top Senate Republican, another Supreme Court pick coming soon. As much as the left is crazy now, they will go full Armageddon meltdown. With the bruising Senate battle that led to Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch's confirmation scarcely concluded, a top Republican senator is predicting that another Supreme Court vacancy will emerge soon as this summer. I would expect a resignation this summer, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, Republican of Iowa, said Tuesday, one day after Gorsuch heard his first case as a justice. Grassley, who spoke to the Muscatine Journal in Iowa, said the retirement is rumored but would not name names. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Anthony Kennedy are in their 80s. Justice Stephen Breyer is 78. Grassley said he expected that President Donald Trump would use the same list from which he picked Gorsuch in making future selections. As a candidate, Trump presented a list of about 20 conservatives he was considering as justices. I don't know about racial and ethnic divisions, but there's some pretty good females on there that would make good Supreme Court justices as well, Grassley said on Tuesday. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, has also voiced the expectation that another Supreme Court nomination will be coming soon. I think we're likely to see another vacancy potentially as soon as this summer. I think we'll see another vacancy either this summer or next summer, Cruz said last week. If that happens, as much as the left is crazy now, they will go full Armageddon meltdown, Cruz said a few weeks ago when he first predicted another vacancy on the 9-member court. Although the ages of the justices mean a retirement is likely within the next few years, Grassley said that any retirement would have to take place by 2019 in order for the replacement to be appointed in President Donald Trump's current term. If there's a vacancy in the last year of a presidency, people ought to have a voice, he said, adding that he opposed having a confirmation process during a presidential election year. In 2016, Senate Republicans refused to consider then President Barack Obama's nomination of Judge Merrick Garland for the Supreme Court seat vacated by the death of Justice Anton Scalia, which Gorsuch ultimately filled. Grassley indicated that he took his cue from a 1992 speech made by then Senator Joe Biden, who urged then President George H.W. Bush not to make an election year appointment. I took the same view that Democrats did, Grassley said. You can be sure the Democrats are going to remind me of that. The next article and final one in this episode is off of BizPac Review. And it says, Trump asks Obama Surgeon General to resign. Replaces him with a black nurse. Libs slam her credentials. For President Trump, no good deed goes unpunished. Trump asked Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy and Obama holdover to step down. In his place, the president promoted Deputy Surgeon General Sylvia Trent Adams as acting Surgeon General. Instead of applauding President Trump for elevating a black female nurse to the post, leftists attacked Dr. Trent Adams' credentials, saying she's just a nurse. Obviously, Trump's promotion of a black woman doesn't fit the liberal media narrative that he's a racist misogynist. The disses started with liberal media outlets like ABC News, which tepidly announced in a snide tweet, Dr. Vivek Murthy, an Obama appointee, resigns as Surgeon General, replaced by Deputy Sylvia Trent Adams, a nurse. Actually, she's a nurse with a PhD, so you can call her doctor. Dr. Vivek Murthy, an Obama appointee, resigns as Surgeon General, replaced by Deputy Sylvia Trent Adams, a nurse, the ABC News tweet says here, shown in the article. It didn't go unnoticed. Edgar Allan Poe put out a tweet that says, ABC, cause the writers of this tweet are subliminally attacking this black woman, signaling she isn't educated like her former boss. Similarly, the New York Times, the so-called bastion of social justice activism, bleated a snobby headline saying, Nurse replaces Surgeon General after Obama appointee resigns. It's not until the last paragraph of that Newsweek, of that New York Times mentions that Sylvia Trent Adams has a PhD and was a nurse officer in the Army who had served as Deputy Surgeon General. No one doubted Trent Adams' credentials or lack of medical degree when she was Deputy Surgeon General under Obama. If she was qualified to be second in line to Surgeon General's post then, why is she suddenly unqualified now? Is it simply because Trump promoted her? Meanwhile, tolerant, open-minded liberals immediately trashed Trent Adams as unqualified. Tweets are going out saying things like, but the word surgeon is in the title. Doesn't that mean something, or am I being too literal-minded? Another one says, although Sylvia Trent Adams is very accomplished, the title of Surgeon General indicates physician. Another one says, a reflection of ignorance. Nurses save lives every day, more detailed-oriented than docs. One saved my mom from contradicting meds prescribed. Some leftists see second tweet below refused to give President Trump any credit for promoting Trent Adams when he could just as easily have fired her when he booted her boss. This says she's the Deputy Surgeon General. She's temporarily acting Surgeon General. Trump didn't hire her, in a tweet. In contrast, Trump supporters, whom mainstream media have repeatedly blasted as racist and sexist, applauded Trent Adams' promotion, even if it's temporary, which we don't know yet. It's still a milestone. Thomas Kennedy III puts out a tweet, says, congratulations to Rear Admiral Sylvia Trent Adams being appointed acting Surgeon General, the first RN to be appointed to this position. Cindy for Trump tweets, libtards, please don't use any excuse to act sexist or racist. Sylvia Trent Adams replaces Surgeon General after Obama appointee resigns. And there's a bunch more tweets there if you want to pull them up and read those for yourself. And that's all I have in this episode. One more episode to follow. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up. Share it on your social media so everybody gets to hear the news. And don't forget to subscribe. That way you'll stay informed. I'll see you in the next one.